every day and every night. Should you go or should you fight? It's okay, just take my hand through it all. You will stay.
Well, hi, welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is. It seems like that was going to be unusual time over here because we have been trying to get on for the last, half an hour or maybe even longer. I don't know. But anyway, I have Jenny Lee waiting in the wings, hoping that we might eventually get this up. But this has just been one problem after another. So welcome, Jenny.
Hi.
All the
They're
problems,
fighting
but,
us.
oh
They're
my
resisting
goodness.
us.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted us to have a show.
They were fighting. They were fighting.
Yes. So wow. And it's kind of got me a little discombobbled because how many times did we try?
4 or 5.
4 or 5, yeah. All right then.
Crazy.
Well, we have a number of people on, so that's great. Let me welcome everyone in the chat. And maybe our chat moderators will come back, but they gave up on us, I think.
They're like, "No, we don't know."
Okay, well, it doesn't look like we're going to have a show tonight, but we did. We stayed. We were persistent. We did not give up. It's
Right.
that rancher spirit,
Yeah, that is. There's a spirit with that.
You can't afford to give it up. You can't quit.
Right?
Really.
You can't.
Well, thank you, IC. No, I don't feel that way today, but thank you. Wow, we got a lot of here. That's wonderful. Okay. So, how would you like to start? Do you have some intel that you would like to share with the audience, or how do you want to, where should we go?
I think, kind of the main process here is, everybody's worried about what's going on in the world, but we're not focusing on what's going on that needs to be done.
What's going on in here?
How do you? Yeah. Well, what I mean is, say when all this happens, these people need to know what they need to do, and no one is telling them what they need to do. They're just telling them, "Well, wake up and everything will be fine." But I'm talking about, we kind of have to go back to our basics, spirituality, the ones that are completely not awake at all, and that was last week. Spirit was like, you got to kind of reconnect with them and kind of go over some information with them to make sure that they're aligned and they're not afraid. Sometimes people say they've been doing their work, they don't ask questions, and then they're kind of like, well, I don't know this and I don't know that. And I think someone has to kind of go back and ask these questions to make sure they're okay with things. So I don't think everybody wants to go from 4D to 5D, but they forget about the process that they had to do here. And because that builds the confidence up of where we're going. And so we have to get those little steps that people are confused by. And that's why I kind of wanted to bring up the fact that about, spiritual path, meditation, universal connection, classes and everything, because the fact that I think people in society right now are just confused. They don't know what direction to go in. And so I just want to bring some of the basics back so they can ask those questions. So kind of like really raw questions tonight that they're like, hey, I want to know this answer, spiritually. Can you really give it to me and the truth about it? And that's what I want to do. So that's what I was thinking tonight on some of that.
That sounds wonderful, Jenny. That's what everybody needs. I mean, people are hungry for information about what's going to happen, but they need to take care of themselves first. What's going on inside of them, and the different things they need to take care of and transmute. Forgive themselves, forgive others, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like this week, this weekend, there's a big event going on in Florida, and I have people down there and all that stuff. But and like I said, I mean, going out drinking and consuming stuff is not going to make your spirituality better. I'm just saying, we should be focusing on the important stuff. And so that's what I'm saying with that, a line of things being balanced together, and let people ask questions, let them be honest about what's really going on with them. And then, so that's part of the process. I think people feel, I don't know, uncomfortable to ask that question because people make them feel intimidated, like, well, you should be farther than that.
Yes.
And that's
Yes,
not right.
exactly.
So I want them to ask the questions.
And I think one of the things that happens too is there are people that have been in the spiritual community, and maybe, and I know there's false light and all that, but just, put that aside for a minute. The people that are actually working in the spiritual community have been doing it for years. And they have people that are stepping in and starting to awaken and change their views and beliefs. And they expect them to go from where they started, if they forgot where they started.
Mm-hmm.
And now they expect other people who are just starting to be in the same place. It's not going to happen. They don't understand. They don't get it.
Because the teachers are wrong across the board on that. Because the teachers are just the facilitators. The spirit is the teacher. So the teachers are not doing it right. They are not listening to what's behind these people and tuning into that teacher that's supposed to be leading them to the environment which teaches them that raw information. That's the problem. There's a communication that's wrong between the spiritual teacher thinks that the way that things work for her or him in their way and their DNA and the way it's processed through them needs to work for the same for everybody. That's wrong. So they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They need to tune into the individual and see what's behind them and see what spirit says. And they don't want to do that because it takes too much time. Well, that's what they need to be doing because that's what they are contracted to do on this planet. Individual basis.
Everybody has a mission.
Yes. And you have to take time to do that. Because if you put people in a spiritual group together, a collusion of them, it is hard for those individuals to raise their hand and ask a lot of questions because then people think, well, you're taking too much time for yourself and we need to ask more questions. But that's the problem. The teachers have it wrong. They need to teach this on a one-on-one basis and tune into what's behind them, not to sell their platform and their view, and that's the way it needs to be. It is spirit's view. It is spirit's teachings. It is spirit's communication. That's what they need to be listening to.
So when they're listening to that, Jenny, how do they hear that? Do they hear that in their own voice or do they hear that in some other voice?
So what I do with the one-on-ones is I say, I'm the facilitator. I'm the one that opens the door. But that environment that spirit shows me, it says, this is your path. This is what's going to happen. This is the environment I need you to work in. And then you wait for that situation to occur and go through that experience with spirit. That's the whole thing. People don't want to hear it. They want to see it on their own. And you need to give them that environment to interact with that. That's the problem. And that's what needs to happen is we as seers, teachers, we need to sit back a little and let spirit run it. And you channel and translate what they need you to tell the student. And you need to channel and translate what they need you to do for the student to put them in that environment. You're not going to learn a lot in a classroom. You're going to learn a lot by walking in it, being in the situation. That's how you're going to learn it.
When you say being in the situation,
Uh-huh.
what exactly do you mean? Is that
So I
one-to-one with the teacher, or is that by yourself, being in a
so
situation by yourself, or what do you
Spirit
mean exactly?
channels and says these are the areas that that student needs to work on. And I want you to tell them to look for this environment, and I will present that energy in that environment. And that's what happens. They're waiting for this environment to happen. They're waiting for this happenstance situation that Spirit told them that's going to happen, and then allow that lesson to begin. And they come back and tell me what has happened. And then we go over that environment that they have seen, because that is what Spirit told me they were going to set in front of them. And whether they saw it, whether they didn't see it, whether they're interacting with it, whether they got a lesson from it, that's the main point that's important. So this whole society of, and it's just it's a circle. It's a circle base that you're looking at, and you never win. And that's the problem. Is I have students every day that come to me and they're so frustrated and so annoyed, and they like, I paid all this money out and I did not get anything for it. I got more frustrated and more doors shut in my face, because they are not tuning in to what's behind them. They're not tuning into what Spirit needs from that student that is open to listening. They're shoving them through, just like, any treadmill. Just push them through, push them through, push them through, push them through. They don't care of the consequences. They don't care of the repercussions. Or, like I always say, don't open a door unless you can shut it. This is affecting people. They're tired of it. And their pockets are tired of it too.
Well, some people have much more to invest to be able to do one-on-ones than other people. So it gets to be very difficult for those that don't have resources, that need to learn more to be able to advance in their spiritual evolution. So what choices do they have? I mean, usually a class is cheaper than a one-on-one. I'm not knocking that. I think that's great to be able to have a one-on-one, but not all of us can afford it.
Yeah, and now those are, and that's why I won't like. There's always a way to find it. Like I have free groups that you go into, like on Signal and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Because those students that have paid for that have that information and then share it. Do you understand? No matter what, you can find information if you seek the right people.
Mhm.
The right people are not about making money. They're about sharing the knowledge that they have learned, and they share it within a group. That's the whole thing. That's what's important, because we want to get a balance point of people up into a level. And you can't do that if you're only feeding the rich. What good is that? What good is that? You want the people with a capability. You want the people with strong intuition, the raw information. That's what you want. So if you put that collage of those people together and they're asking questions, and I teach it a certain way, each one has that. They have their memory of how I do it. And then maybe they just need to sit and view and look at this stuff for a while before they make a decision. But I try to give as much as I can away.
What is your Signal channel? Can
You
you
know
tell
what?
us
I
that?
could, if you could go, I think if I go in there right now, sorry. I have two of them, but one is a student group that is called Starlink Jenny Site.
Starlink Jenny's site.
Yeah. So, and there's no, I like about it because there's no ego in there. It's balanced. They share information with each other. And that's what I like about it. And I do one or two intels a week. Sometimes it's not, but I give information. So it's there where they could feel like they can get some information. They're not there. This is the biggest thing. I do not allow marketing in those groups. They are there to feel at home and be able to not worry about someone throwing stuff in their face and making them buy stuff. You know what I'm saying? And they're relaxing and they're asking questions that they want answers for with a calmness about it, you know? And that's the thing. It's just, there's too much that they don't want it shoved in their face. They just like, I want to observe, I want to learn, I want to go at my pace and look at all this before I decide what questions I want to ask. So there's certain levels of spiritual information. You know, there you have the people that are very much ready, and then you have those ones that are poking around the corner, looking and asking questions and are afraid. And then you have those mid-level where they have information and they will share it. So there's different levels, but you need to open your door to that. So it's very important to do this, especially right now, because we're at a point you want to bring as many people as you can and get them aligned not to be in fear. And that is the biggest thing. I won't allow the group to be in fear whatsoever. So
that's one of our biggest problems is the fear that's created. And there's all different levels or different kinds of fear. It's not, a lot of times that's where this self-inquiry too comes in and is really important, because certain things you wonder why you act, and a lot of times it's out of fear, but you don't necessarily label it as fear. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, it's not like a lion is chasing you. I mean, that's the kind of fear people think of all the time, but there's other kinds of fear that people have, you know, fear of what somebody else might think of you. Now that's a really big fear, and it's extremely liberating not to get past that, but that's a tough one.
Yeah. That's that oneness, you know, and that's that unfuckable stage, I call it. And once you're there, you're just on your path. You're leading in the light, you know that that's what you need to do, and they're at that level. And there's a lot that are. And they're ready and they're open to that. I'm really proud of my students in those groups because they've done their work. They're working hard to get there. And I could tell you, society now, I mean, they're looking at it going, okay, what's next? You know, they're at that point if they're not in that fear process anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the whole thing. And so it's about developing as oneness together. I'm tired of this individual stuff. I'm like, it's a group, a collaborative group, and that's how the higher dimensions are. They think of one another in a system together. And we need to get out of this me, I, myself.
Every man for himself.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I'm shocked on is I just, you know, spirits in my head going, I'm sick of seeing this shoved up their butts. You can't have a normal conversation with them and then all of a sudden, at the end of this, can you buy this product? No. Let them just come in and get the information. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying, you know, Gail, there's a ton out there. And it's just like, I don't remember Spirit telling me to do this. And this is my quote on this. There's only enough room for me and Spirit. There is no room for products or anybody else's voices in between what I have to say. So I'm only going to follow what Spirit tells me to do. And that is the way. That's why you'll never see me sell a product ever. And I just
I'm going to have to stop you there, Jenny, because I'm going to have to say something. There are people online like myself that do an awful lot of work in the commissions that I get on a few things that I sell. Keep me able to do this because I live on Social Security.
I agree.
And so I'm, you know, and that just makes me feel bad because I don't.
No,
like
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about.
I know, but I'm telling you that. That's what I hear, and I do get defensive. I have to admit that because I work hard. I don't get paid for what I do, and I only have a few few products,
Right.
and I do try to
But
sell
you're
them.
not in it
So
for profit. You're
I
not
never
doing
have
this for
been.
profit. Right. This is a big difference. There's a difference between trying to make it pro bono and trying to survive and keep the channel going. Then you got the ones, it's way past that. It's way past that. And they know that. So you're at a totally different level because you're doing this out of your heart and soul to bring the service to people. And they understand that from you. They get that. They do.
Thank you. I never started.
Difference.
I never asked for anything when I first started.
Right.
It wasn't until the expenses started,
Right. Exactly. It does accumulate, but you're not doing the readings on the side or all that. We're talking about, they're looking at the numbers every day. They're looking at how much they're accumulating every day. You're like, as long as I can keep the show going.
Yeah, I don't even check.
Right.
That. People just ask Christine.
Right. So it's not about that. It's about doing what you feel you're supposed to be doing. But to completely take advantage in a different way, you know that, and I know that. You know that's happening too much.
Yeah.
So, and people are aware of it now. They're aware of how it's being presented to them. They're just not buying into it no more. I mean, people ask me, why don't you have a donation thing on your website? And I don't need it. Fine. Because I don't need it. And that's the way it should be, because I trust spirit. So, and that just shows you these, the process of that trust with spirit, and I know that people say, well, I need to survive. And I do believe the healers and all that stuff that are doing the work, they need to survive. They need to figure that out within a balance. And then you realize that spirit does take care of you. You don't need millions of dollars.
I've been finding that out. I never would have thought I would have made it as far as I have, living
Yes,
where I
but they do
at this point in time. But for some, apparently, somehow something will come up, or I'll get enough to get by, and that's
it's always there.
All I care about.
That it's always there, and that's the thing where you start to have faith in it, because you are doing what they need you to do.
I can vouch for that. It's so true. That is exactly true. Because when I stopped worrying about it so much and started trusting more and talking to spirit more, miracles started happening.
Right. And that's that building that trust with spirit and not going into fear and not having doubt. And, and I've been on times that I'm just like, I'm back down to the last $20. I mean, what do you want me to do? And they're like, don't worry about it. We got it. We got it. And they always do. And that's the thing. They want you to trust them 100%. They want you to rely on them 100%, that they know what you're doing. They know what you're going through, and they know what you're trying to do. So I'm just saying, you really have to trust it all the way. There's not a midway of doing it, because at the end of this, you're going to know how far you worked with them, because the reward on that end is the light, and the value of that is amazing. There's no money that can touch that. There isn't. So
certain things money just can't buy.
No. Well, even the experience is like, I have a book, but I don't, it's on my website, and that's where it's at,
and you don't push it a whole lot either. And it's a good book, by the way. It's called Walking in Humble Spirit, and that's just what she does. So that's good.
So I think people are getting smart on what they can handle and what they want to deal with and what they don't want to listen to anymore. I think it's, they're getting there, and I'm encouraging them. You have that inner voice, and society has suppressed that voice. Like, you have that inner voice. Oh no, that's not what you should say. That's not polite. And I tell people spiritually, you either say it and flow the truth out or get out of the energy. Because sitting in it and holding it in your chest is not good. But flowing with it and being raw and truthful or get out of the energy.
Oh, that's good. We're losing you a little bit right now, Jenny. I don't know why.
Really? Because my lights are green. It's all green.
Your lights on this end aren't green. That's weird.
That is weird. You see it now, or is it changing?
No, it's funny. Usually there's that little row of green lights. It's not there at all. So
weird.
But you're still on. I mean, this has been really weird. I don't think they want us to put this information out. It's the feeling I'm getting, because what you're saying is so true, and it's calling to task the spiritual community to clean up and to act right.
Right. And I think they need to, and I think they need to be called on it. And that's what I just feel, and because this is at the end of my mission here. I want to make sure that everything I did for spirit, I did. I was supposed to do those tasks and deal with the issues that I was supposed to deal with and help the people I was supposed to help with. I want to know that when it's time for me and my journey to end, then like, okay, you did everything I put in front of you. That's what's important to me. And that's what's important to a lot of spiritual people, is that they did everything they were supposed to do. And they came here to do. Do you have any questions in the chat? I'm not hearing. I can't hear anything. I can't hear, Gail.
I'm sorry. I had myself muted.
There it is. Came back live again.
Okay. Wow. Anyway, okay. What I was saying was the question was that somebody was asking was about ascension symptoms. They were asking in the group too if there were any ascension symptoms, and a lot of people are having nausea.
And that has to do with your body. Listen, this is the thing, when you're waking up, your body's changing into spirituality, and then you have the physical body. And there's a balance in between. You know what I'm saying? And part of your body desires a lot of food, and part of your body is not. There's a balance. And when I do humble healing, I say, you have to allow the spirit in charge of the body, and the body is used to be in charge of the spirit.
Yes.
So you have to say, I'm the vessel and I'm in charge. The spirit is in charge. And then when that happens and you feel that I tell people just to hold your hands out, ground yourself, and sit there for 3 minutes and just I call it the stomach pumps, where you push the inner gut 4 times because it pushes up the chakra in the center, solar plex, and relieves energy. So when you're feeling that, it's really about rebalancing yourself and reinstating that your spirit is in charge of your vessel.
That's pretty cool.
So that, and then a lot of 2 is the tuning, which is the mental tuning, the vibration tuning. You hear a lot of noise in the mind and in the ears. And then I call it the shock systems, where you're getting shocked on a normal basis. You're having that issue. And then also feeling like when you're walking, sometimes it's pulling in one direction. You're off and centered.
I've had that
but
happen.
Also, the higher, with higher frequency ones, I'm starting to hear conversations that are different. That's what's weird. And I haven't really talked to anybody about this. It's just different chatter. And it's not mediumship chatter. It's like a language that I know that I'm trying to listen into that's familiar to me. And it feels like it's getting closer.
Interesting. Wow.
So it's almost like your higher self is coming closer in and allowing that information to come in more. And it's almost like you're going back to your memory, your soul's memory. And you're like, I know this language. I know this conversation. It's very familiar to me. I'm not afraid of it at all. So those are things. Or another thing is capabilities are getting stronger and you don't know why. And it seems more simpler. It's just acknowledging the higher self is coming in to your own self.
That's fascinating. That you're here, and it's not like it's like the thoughts of people that are in your immediate vicinity or anything like that, correct?
Right.
It's actually in a different language.
Yes, and that's the thing. And I see English language it seems so unnormal to me. That's why I have such a hard time looking at it sometimes. But when I see other languages that go up and down, that seems normal to my mind. So we're going back to memory of our higher self. And those are, and there's a knowing voice, which is a higher dimension voice that comes in and almost, it's not a dominating, it's a gentle domination of knowing. And that's happening too.
That's not what I meant to put up. Sorry about that. Okay. Someone mentioned this and it said the telepathic ability is waking up higher heart, higher mind connection. You agree with that?
Telepathic. I'm going to tell you what telepathic, it just feels like your soul is stepping into someone else and you're seeing and viewing everything. It's getting stronger in that way, faster, you know? So, that's how I describe telepathic. You hear stuff, you feel stuff, but it seems like there's not that distance anymore. There was a distance with it. Now it's coming closer and more understandable. And so not where I have a lot of telepathic people that they just get annoyed that they can't hear everything and they can't balance that energy off and understand it clearly. And it seems like that's happening faster.
Yeah, somebody's asking, how do I tune in?
You put a blindfold on, and that's how I teach, is I put a blindfold on them. And where the normal class, they let you look for your two eyes. With my students, I blindfold them. And I go, I'm going to put you in a corner with spirit, and that is the only answer. There's nothing to reach for except going in. And that's how I teach, raw insight. And that's the best way to get it. Because then you rely on that, because then you see how accurate it is, because your left brain would love to find something to throw in there and just say, well, let's see if this sticks. And your right brain's going, nope, we're just doing the downloads.
Some people are talking about the different changes that have occurred in people's appetites, and I certainly can talk about that myself. There was a period of time, and still to some extent, where it seems like all I really wanted liquids. And I've had some, some things that I used to really like that I don't really care about anymore. And
right. Yeah, so I mean, I think a lot of it is the heaviness of food we're noticing. Yes. That we are forming into the lighter side of the food, the mass of it.
Your fruit.
Yes.
Fruit's going to be one of your best things to eat. Yes. And it's the least thing that's ever promoted. And I can say Americans don't eat much fruit at all. They really don't.
Right.
They eat some, but very little. And fruit is electric. And vegetables are grounding.
Yes, they are.
And herbs are medicinal. And it's always important to remember those three things, because that's what they use. And they all have frequency. All your herbs have frequency. They affect our body's frequency, and so does our food. So if you're eating a lot of dead food, you're not getting the light energy that you need.
Right. And that's the whole thing about it is I think in society, this is a thing, you know, anybody could think about. Who says we need 3 meals a day?
Thank
I mean,
you.
I don't know about your body or my body, but it's not that hungry, you know?
No.
And I'm thinking if I barely eat something in the morning and then late at night, it's like, yeah, you're going to have to eat. I think it's good to listen to that, but I think as you leave your house, product. And that's the whole thing. That's the trip to it. You know what I'm saying? You leave your house, it's okay, we're going to drain those pockets. You know what I'm saying? Starbucks.
Yeah, that's
McDonald's.
true.
I mean,
It's
that's
like,
the whole game.
I always end up getting more than I meant anyway every time I go to
Right.
the store.
It works,
But
and we know that. So the
yeah.
thing is, if you plan inside your house and make things fresh, you're not going to look at that. You're going, I have lunch. And that's a hard structure to have because all this around you is really tempting you.
Oops, I meant to listen. Here's one. It always moves. Just when I click on the question, it moves, and I get the other question. But anyway, are vivid visions as soon as you close your eyes? That doesn't seem to make sense. Meaningful. Big bad. What?
Okay, vivid
I'm not sure.
image. It depends on the trust. It depends on where your mindset is at that time. If you're in a elusive state and you're really relaxed, those images could come in very easily. Then there's another stage where your body's kind of like, you know, you don't even realize you're in your body and you're getting the vivid images. But that has to do with trust. Again, trust is the key to this format. Like I think I told you before, when you're in dreams and you're in dream state, people think that you have no control of those dreams. You do. And what I realized was when I was in the process of dreaming, I started to realize that I have control of walking through this dream or pulling myself out of it. You're able to do anything you want if you have control of it and you're aware of that. So if you went into a dream state and you're not recognizing stuff at that moment, that's when you say, okay, I'm alert and aware that I'm dreaming and I want control of this. You'll be surprised how it switches over and you're able to control the dream and pull out of it. So there's different states of lucid dreaming, vivid dreaming, walking through a normal dream. And then a lot of the dreams that we always think that it's attached to us. We're trying to put one big dream together. And sometimes that you're walking through dimensions of information. That answers some of those questions.
There we go again. Multidimensional is what I was thinking. And somebody mentioned here, it's really kind of what they say. It's fun when you get control of your dreams. I haven't gotten there yet, but anyway, to control my dreams.
Well, you know, in that dream
I don't
state,
recall mine.
That is where the negative comes in that dream state. You know. Okay. Well, anyway, the negative comes in that dream state because they're thinking, oh, it's party time. And so if you're aware that you have control of that and you identify a negative and know that it's not you, you could push that out too. Everything's about with the negative is identification because they want you to think that it's you. And if you can recognize that, know the level of how that balance works, everything about that, then you have control of the dream because you're determined to know the truth. And they don't want to mess with you when you have information. They don't want to mess with you when you can identify them. They want someone that's weak and vulnerable.
For a minute there, I wasn't hearing you. I saw your lips moving, but I wasn't hearing you. But you weren't muted or anything. But it's hard to. Let's see if we have some questions here. What's this one? It won't be long and will be sought out for knowing and understanding as things progress. Jenny, you are and will be a great teacher in this awakening. I couldn't agree more. You're in your role for sure.
Yeah, I've been trained for it for a long time.
Okay, let's see what else we got. Yes, I love watermelon, and it's very alkalizing as well.
I like the hard questions. Anybody got some hard questions tonight?
Come on, somebody come up with a hard question. Let's get a hard question here for Jenny. Well, I don't know what this one would be, but this is a personal kind of one. It says, I used to be able to rewind my dreams, and how come I can't now?
Because we're in a different dimension, and what they've told me is our past does not matter anymore. It's where we are today and where we're going. So
that's good. That's encouraging. That's a good
thing. Because the 3D, I mean, that's what it does. It rewinds past seeded issues, rewinds what we did in the past. It uses those as seeds to seed us and keep us down. And the Spirit goes, it doesn't matter what happened in the past in the 3D. It matters what happens from here out now. And as long as you can recognize that, you can go forward. It's because that's a control mechanism that our world used. And now that does not have what it used to have. And now it does not matter.
That makes sense.
I've seen a lot of dimensional beings come from the sun. So Islam's right about that. I mean, sorry. Perez, sorry. I just saw one of the chats question.
Okay. Somebody's asking, what is this live talk about, please? If you're listening, you would know. Yeah. I'm not, I don't. Here's somebody, and I can relate to this. I never remember my dreams. I can count on my hands the times that I do.
Well, so I tell people, if you go to bed with a vibration of memory and you present to them, I want to hold the memory of the dreams. I want the vibration of the dreams. And you have control of that environment. You have to state that. Same you do with spirit when it comes into your house. You have to state that what you want in your dreams, what you want to be in control of, what you don't want to be in control of. And you have to present that in a very strong tone. So if your mind says, I can't remember dreams, that's what's going to happen. But if you get to a state that you're confident in knowing that like my mind and spirit can remember these, and I want to remember these. So open myself up to that. So it has to do with your direction in your mindset. So I would try that. You might get a different result.
I think that actually I can vouch for that actually working, because I've started doing that because I wouldn't remember my dreams at all. And I started asking to recall something. I mean, some of them are not worth recalling, but
right.
At least I recall something, so I would say that as I do more of that, I'll probably get more. So I think there's truth in that statement. I just haven't, it didn't seem overly important to me, I guess, is what it really, I just felt kind of out of it because so many other people, remember their dreams and I, talk about them a lot. So
anyway. Well, I could tell you, if you want to remember dreams and you want to clear your slate at night, doing a singing bowl at night and clearing that energy out before you go to bed. YouTube has amazing ones. You don't even have to use the bowl. You could just listen to them and tune that vibration through you, and you can tell it's balanced and clear, And so try that too.
The singing bowls?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I love them. They're awesome. I haven't really, I saw them live in person, so to speak, but I haven't tried listening to the ones on YouTube videos.
Yeah, you'll be surprised at what it does on that balance.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess it was somebody in the chat not being very nice. So, I'm looking for the questions. I dream every single time I sleep. My son says the same thing. So it's just
There's different stages of levels of sleep too. I mean, what you go into. Most of high mindset people, it's very rare that we go way down into that deep set, and we're basically just at the touch of it, at that lightness of it, just barely, and then we're alert again. So to go into a very huge amount of sleep is just crazy for us, and then we'd wake up like where are we at? Like it would be traumatic for my body to go that deep. So I don't ever go that deep in.
What's this one say here? Jenny, a friend of mine passed 5 nights ago. Is he now in the 5th dimension?
No. Transition. There is a transition stage that we go through, that the spirits go through. We get through this transition period, and that's just a lot of light and energy around us that gets our conscience to understand where we're going and feeling it out and feeling balanced in it. And you're in a no harm process. You're letting it go, but you're accepting things.
Okay. My lighting's getting bad. I noticed. I forgot to turn one of my, maybe I should turn a lamp on. I don't know. But anyway, okay. The next question, what vibration are hertz?
425 before you even got the question out.
Oh, okay.
That's just what
425, not 432.
They said 425.
Oh, that's interesting. They probably told us the wrong vibration all along. It's not like they haven't done it, because I thought that was a healing vibration. Oh, wait. What's this question here? I just wish to know, when does... Oh, I don't like Kent Dunn, and you believe things are going to change as military Earth Alliance public mass arrests in this dimension.
We are in the effect of it. It goes by a checklist and not by a date. When everything is done and everybody is where they need to be, then we'll be done.
Okay, so what about where do you get any information on where we're at as far as a planet and as the collective goes, or
okay,
is
so
our vibration of the planet rising? Are we getting there?
I think several months back I told you that we are right under 4D. And I did the pyramid thing, and I showed you the pyramids. Might as well pour out some drawings, right? How they showed me that on this planet, that this planet can be moved. And so I might as well post this up there. It can be moved. And then this was the drawing that I did. And these are all pyramids. And that they're connected to the ley lines. So I believe that we've already been moved. I believe, these are all pyramids all over that they're showing me. So everything, oh, you can't see it because you got that.
Yeah, that what do you call it? Green screen stuff.
Oh,
I know it always does that.
Yeah. We'll have to. I could post it in your chat, but it's all a circle of pyramids in a circle pattern. You can kind of see it. Boy, I hate that when it does that.
I know, that's the most annoying thing about green screen. You can't,
So then you have the ley lines that are connected to the pyramids, and the pyramids are connected to the ships. So everything's connected. So they showed me probably 4 or 5 months ago that they're like, we're right under 4D. We're right under it.
So we're real close to
3D,
going boop, one bump
yeah,
up. Or
3D
what?
is like this crumbling door that you're looking at that's falling apart. And I tell everybody, why even watch it? Just pay attention to what's going on in 4D now. Because no matter what, nothing's going to stop that falling. It's going to fall. You know, you might as well focus on what's new, what's coming in, what's balanced. Another thing they don't want you to do, they don't want you to be independent and think on your own and be able to connect with Creator on your own. I'm just saying you have the capability. Each soul has the capability of doing that now. And that's where we need to be. So we are right under 4D.
Okay.
Right underneath it.
Here's a good question, and I have this question as well. And thank you, Saul, for that question. What about the ley lines? Not only where are they, but I know that they have messed with, for lack of a better word at this point, the ley lines in many different places. They either, stop the energy or suppressed it or utilized it to their advantage. What?
I live by one. Okay, so sometimes the way the energy works, sometimes there's a lot of dimensional beings that come through that. And the one that I live by, there were natives, there were Vikings, there were there's different size of animals that should not have been here. So because every different type of species has tried to contain that energy on those ley lines or have something from it. And so you guys got to tell, it's funny with me, with spirit, I don't know where they're going to lead me until I'm in the situation. So I ended up going on this property and forcefully going, I don't want to go here. Why are you making me do this? So I ended up at the guy's door and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I have to ask questions because if I don't, I'll never get some sleep tonight. So I sat down and talked to him for a while, and he would. Now I got to tell you, I don't know if people don't talk about what comes out of those ley lines. He was having problems with boar crocs. I mean, you got to understand that those are like a fighting ground for energy. And I have the rock for the stone. Do I have it in here? Might be in my other room. But they were having me look for these black stones, and I couldn't find them anywhere. So I'm going to that place, and all I'm seeing in the ground is these stones of these black things popping up. And in my head going, you've got to be kidding me. But what they showed me that's around the black part of it, say like it was an outer shell. And the inner shell was an energy that man cannot touch, not put his hands on, not come near, or you would self-combust, okay? This is something that no human can touch. Those ley lines is something that no human can ever touch. Because if they could, those giants wouldn't be dead. Those natives wouldn't be dead. All these other animals and in history would not be laying around in graves around these. And so this is on my YouTube where it talks about the pyramids. So on top of the pyramids is where these green stones that they show me that's in these ley lines go on top of those pyramids. And they're saying each one knows where it belongs and it will go back to it at the time that it needs to go. So they showed me they're green and they go on top of them, and it's all connected. And
where
it's
are
not
they
in the
now?
way they're in the ley lines.
Oh, the stone that goes on top of the pyramid is inside the ley line?
That's what they're saying. They've always been telling me that.
Wow, that's interesting. Huh.
So that's why, they have these ley lines. I mean, you can't dig them up. You can't get into them. I mean, the state's got them protected too. You can't do anything. And when you get close to them, I was over there a couple weeks ago. It was so shocking, because it was just like, ugh. It's, when that comes out of the ground, you don't want to be anywhere near it. But everything, look at the pyramids, the ley lines, everything's separate. Everything's a puzzle, put in separate directions. But even this black stone that was around, that they showed that was around there, was so thick, and they said the stone was so tight, like you couldn't get a pencil in. It's so tight. And I went to a rock shop and took it, and they're like, "Where did you get this?" I go, "I'm never telling you." And he goes, "I haven't seen anything like this." So, and I like to verify the information to make sure it's accurate of what I channel, to verify. So all the system of how our planet moves, the ley lines, the pyramids, all of it's going to be connected like one big puzzle. So they showed
like it was supposed to be in the beginning, right? Haven't all those things happened as a result of manipulation by malevolent beings? Yeah. You know what? I had another question up there, and I accidentally took it down before I meant, because I think you need to answer this one. 4D is no physical, correct? That's not
no physical.
That's not correct. Yeah.
You can, this is where people are like, and I don't know how some of these teachers are telling you you're going to have a physical body. Blood, bone, water, salt is not going with you. Those conditions are not going with you. You're going to be into elusive state, elusive energy, and elusive frequency. It's different. And that's the beings I see. I don't, and here's a shocker. Here's a shocker. No one has hair. Okay. I haven't seen any aliens. I haven't seen any higher dimension with this ravishing hair. I'm just telling you, there is no hair.
The first time I ever got my hair growing long, and I'm going toward not having any. How do you like that? Oh, no.
I mean, they all look like this. They're all, there again, I can't show it because it's, gosh, this, I'm going to have to never do this green screen again. But there's no hair nowhere.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
No, we'll have, next time we do a show, we'll have to not use the green screen so we can show you pictures.
Well, let me see if I got a closer one that's black and white.
Sometimes if you get it just right.
Hold on, let me see if I could use like these beings. See if you could do this one. Does that one show up? Hold on. Can you see that one? Those type of beings. They got no hair. Again, no hair, nowhere.
No hair, nowhere. Okay.
They're not Fabios. They don't have blonde locks. They don't have these muscular. I mean, they just don't have those issues. They don't have beer bellies or anything like that. I'm just telling you. So
are they just tall and lean?
Yes, that's it. That's it. Elusive energy flows through it. But like Creator, I've drawn 3 sketches of him, and his eyes are dimensional. They're massive, and you look in them, everything's dimensional. So if you have one color of a being, there's another color behind it, and you can see through that. So if they wore a cloak behind them, there would be light behind them in frequency and energy, and that's what balances. We have to get past the physical body. It's not going. It's funny.
Well, that's what a lot of people have been telling us, that the physical body is going, that there's the first time there's an ascension with an actual physical body. So that's what they've been telling people.
I know they've been telling you, but Spirit's like, there is, Jen, your blood does not flow in 4D. Your blood is not going to flow in 5D. You have a different vessel. Even when I do humble healing, before I knew those were connected in 5D, they're like, you have to pick a different vessel to even get into 5D. So it's never described. And I do remote medical of looking at the body, and they never show me. They never show me conditions they have. They never show me illness they have. That is a blood, bone, 3D condition. We don't have it. We're elusive. We are a
So
filter
will we
of
look
energy.
different? Will we look different?
Yeah, so for myself, I was like, okay, I'm green, aqua green, lime, and taller, and I'm like, wow. But you have to get to the point that humanity is not helping in this area to get the mind around that they look different. I have to tell everybody, they don't look like humans. And if we're expecting to go up there and see all these human feature looking things, it's not going to happen. But our mindset has to adapt to the way they really look. I don't care if they're blue, purple, or green. That has to come into play. And I always tell people as I teach my students, I go, when you get up there and you feel comfortable with a universal line, which is an access to 4D and 5D, ask them to show themselves in their true veil of understanding, their trueness, because negative energy has a way of showing you Casanova, and they're like, well, I'll just show them I'm a good looking guy, and then I'll just actually be something else. And that's the problem. It doesn't work that way. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
big, muscle guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're at that point and you're comfortable up there and you're in that energy and you're feeling completely capable of seeing them at the veil of understanding, saying, okay, I'll accept whatever form you are. Just show me your true form. They'll show it. But you have to be ready for something different. You have to get out of the concept of human. They all look human. I got to tell everybody, they don't want to look human. They want to look like themselves. They don't want hair. They're okay with not having hair, and I'm okay with not having that maintenance.
Well, it's a lot of work, I can tell you that right
It is, makeup,
It's another lot of work, yeah.
Yeah, all that goes aside. Of course, age goes to a side too. So it's not
That'll
really
be
going to
welcomed.
matter about you maintaining because you're going to sustain a certain age. So I'm just saying, getting this, I'm thinking a hot alien. What's a hot alien? Why would they adapt to looking like humans unless they're trying to act like something they're not? So you've seen ones that have said that they look like this, and I'm like, why would they do that? No. So it's
I would think it would be to prevent people from being afraid of them because they don't look like human.
Yeah, exactly. Or the fact that somebody has a limited veil of understanding and the spirit's like, well, they can only see us at this point because they understand anything else. So I'm just saying, as you evolve, your veil of understanding changes, your acceptance of other beings, that prejudice side disappears. Those programmings disappear. You don't care.
Yeah.
I like it.
Programming, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because when kids are first born, they're not racist. They're taught that.
Right.
They're not sexist. They're taught that.
Right.
So that's all. Yeah. There's a question up here that says someone is having Atlantis connections, and it's coming up a lot lately in tarot readings, and finding others too remembering Atlantis. What's the connection to that and now? Do you know?
Because I've talked about, and Trump has mentioned it too, that to keep your eyes on the water. And I've mentioned that these bigger ships are going to surface. And I also have talked about how the water is just disappearing. And when these bigger ships are coming from the sea that's been down there many years, and as it raises up to the surface, that pulls the water down. So these are massive. And it's hard to even concept how big they are, but they're big. So these I call them ship cities of Atlantis, and you're probably picking up that tone. You're probably picking up that vibration, and it's like your mind's in tuning into that frequency. So that's what I would be paying attention to, and seeing consistency of that information, or the fact, like I told you, that your mind, when you're going into your higher self, it's probably having memories of knowledge from it too. So that part of what's in our earth, the inner earth, what's going to surface is going to shock you. So they're big ships, big cities.
Well, that's it's a little bit of a heads up usually makes it a little easier to deal with the shock, even though it would still exist. But do you know, are there ley line maps anywhere? I've never seen one. Have you?
There's some
Do they
on
exist?
Google. I had to do some research on Google. There is some ley line maps all over the world. It'll show you. There is a. So if you look it up, you'll see. When you look at the ley lines, you're going, holy cow. It's like a circuit board. That's what it looks like. It does. It's crazy.
Okay. Well, this Nan had said she hears voices late at night too, and she has for 50 years. I
Yeah.
think it's a group or an ensemble or chorus.
Well, they're probably coming in closer now. I mean, the whole thing is your veil of its understanding. Once you accept it, and then you're not in fear, or you accept it, you're not in fear, you're going to hear more, you're going to accept more.
She says they're evaluating our life work, maybe.
Yes, they are. As I
Interesting.
said, they see us up there and they see us down here, and for what we do will be seen in the true light.
So all the mistakes we've made along the way we're going to get our nose rubbed in it, or what?
Well, I think the mistakes that you've made and learned from, and you learned from those wounds, that's a different deal. You know what I'm saying? There's making a mistake, but there's learning.
Like, I wouldn't do that again, kind of thing.
Right, exactly. There's a lot of that, but you wouldn't be the person you are today unless you had those mistakes.
True.
They built your character of who you are today. And just like your family, ever since I was young, I was just like, no way am I from these people. I was at a young age going, this does not make sense. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, and I thought this is a test or something's going on. And so I feel like today, and I've realized that everything put in my life has been a challenge, and to build my character of who I am today and see how strong it will develop into that person, because it's taught me to totally be independent and still strive for spirit and their communication and rely on that. So sometimes your family members are your life test. And even if they're crappy ones, they're testing you.
Okay. Well, I'm getting sick of tests now.
Or a puzzle. Spirit's really good at throwing the puzzles, and you're like, it just can't be a straight line. It's got to be a circle or a maze.
Thank you, Paladin, for that comment. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Just in shadow. That's interesting. I haven't heard. I don't think I'm clairaudient. I'm hard of hearing, so of course that wouldn't matter for that kind of hearing anyway. But here's one. Dot Connector has a question. What could possibly be the issue if dreams travel to other systems? Training has stopped, or no memory recall of it happening all of a sudden and lasting a good while? Huh? I'm not following the question.
I am confused on that one.
Yeah, I don't get that question. Could you redo
it?
Write that question? Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense for some reason. So maybe try that question again. Okay, what is? Oh, here's one. Question. I video the sun almost daily and I'm seeing two objects. It's not glare and more obvious. Thoughts? I think I've seen what he's talking about.
Yeah, there's several objects. And then I have for years looked at the sun and saw things come out of it left and right. And that's why they're like, don't look at the sun. And I'm like, yeah, you told us that, but I didn't listen. So their sun is a big door.
Natural born rebel.
Yeah. The sun's a big door, and there's a lot of things that come through it. So I wouldn't say stare at it for hours, but I'm telling you, if you look at it in the morning and the evening, you'll see a lot of stuff. So don't doubt what you're getting. Because when I can look at the sun and then I see it move towards away from the sun and see that illusion create itself. So yeah, it's do exactly what science has told you not to do. Do the opposite, because we're going to find out they were all wrong.
Somebody else said that too on another show.
I'm telling you.
It's like, if that's what they tell you to do, just do the opposite and you'll be doing the right thing. Because everything they tell you is the opposite of what it should be. So
right, exactly.
Okay, is there going to be something happening soon here to these low energy Luciferians, so we ain't using the low energy frequencies to do it ourselves?
They won't be breathing. They can't exist in this energy that's changing. They can't breathe in it. It's like self-combust, or they're just going to dismantle completely. And I've talked about this in especially the democratic cities, that you're going to see more of it. And that's where Illinois, keep an eye on Illinois in that inner city, because the police departments are already backing up. There's a reason. It's your first example of what's going to happen. So yes, self-combust.
So wait a minute. What's happening in Illinois? In the inner city. What do you mean by that? I'm not.
Well, police departments are pulling back. Okay.
What do you mean by pulling back? They're just.
I want you to think of Washington, how they surrounded Washington, put a gate around Washington, and it was a self-contained. So we're kind of going to end up doing the same thing in the like Illinois. You're going to see that they're going to put a fence around them, and then a different type of technology will come in and deal with those inner city issues, which is a lot of technology. But also, like I said, I think probably a year and a half ago, that the Walmarts are turning into psych wards. So you're going to have certain divisions.
Walmarts are turning into psych wards. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think the government's in charge. A lot of them now, what I've heard, to certain facility to put people in to contain them. So you're going to see
when they go crazy from what's happening. Is that what you're getting at?
Exactly. And I did
I'm being a little blunt, but
yeah, I did a YouTube on this probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. It's like, those Walmarts are going to be psych wards. I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh.
So put them somewhere. I'm just saying.
Well, you know what's interesting about that, and I'm going to have to do a show with my good friend Sterling Hill, who has just had an experience in a psych ward as a result of refusing certain medical treatments and being treated horribly as a result. And because of, I mean, I don't have all the details, okay, but just generally what happened, they ended up sending her to a psych hospital.
Oh, was that in a democratic city?
Near one, but this isn't happening in Louisiana, so that tells you a lot. Anyway, I think she's home now, and I have communicated with her a little bit, but she has quite a story to tell about the horrors in the mental health institution and the way people are taken care of and stuff of that order.
Yeah.
And it's that, and because when you said Walmart becoming a psych ward, if you saw, and I have worked in a psych ward myself in Phoenix, and if you saw the way patients are treated, the way they're forced to take drugs that they are begging to get off, and how they're used like guinea pigs for different drugs and so on, how they won't even consider anything nutritional or any kind of different type of therapy other than the chemical type. They just won't do it. And if you try to interfere with that process, I mean, I lasted for 2 months on the pharmacy and therapeutic committee because I was not in favor of what they were doing from a medicinal standpoint when there were certain things that could be done. They didn't care about the diet, and that's very impactful.
Right. But it's just it's suppressing the mental capability.
Yes.
And that's what it's about, domination programming.
Exactly.
But I don't feel that in these facilities, because this will be a new government working in a different way. These people will actually need a padded room. So
are these the people that can't handle what's happened because too much it was?
Yes, the ones that can't decide if they're male or female or animal or dog or cow or
whatever they identify as.
100, 300, 400 different identities. I don't know. I think it might be them. I just have an idea. Just
okay. That means that just might be true. Let's see. Oh, we saw that one already. Sorry. Let me. What do you think of this statement made by? I can't read it. It's too small. You know, as telepathic opens, word communication shifts to higher communication through ideas and feelings. Is that true?
Because you're going to attach emotion. Read the question again. Emotion. Go ahead.
Is as telepathic opens, word communication shifts to higher communication through ideas and feelings.
Well, you're empathic because of the emotion, and then you're more intuitive when that impacts as trust regains to a 100%. So that has to do with trust. That has to do with the millisecond of trusting it. So that has to do with your own vessel deciding how far to trust that. So that has to do with yourself. I mean, I'm that way now. I don't know what I'm going to say out of my mouth in 2 minutes because it's downloaded so fast that I trust them. So,
and that's awesome. Well, somebody's asking about, I thought we were going to be crystal and maybe based on what's been said so far, that's not.
Well, I mean, your elusive state, there is a frequency in you. There is a diamond. I've talked about the diamonds there in the back of our head that's connected to source. So you have that color, you have that frequency, you have that. You're just not flesh, bone, blood.
Okay, I guess somebody's asking, and I guess that you're puzzling all of us to some extent, and because we're trying to envision what this could actually be, and how is this blood and bone going to shift to something else? What will this process look like? Will there be a physical death or just a departure?
It's not. You're gonna. That's the whole thing. We're in the human process, and we think things got to be so painful and procedures, and they're not.
It sounds like it, yeah.
It's like taking your conscience and putting it somewhere else, and all of a sudden you're waking up in a new vessel. It's not that hard. It's your conscience is in control of that vessel. So that's the thing. I mean, it's hard it's elusive state of energy. And then if you look at higher dimensional beings, you could see through them. You know, okay.
Transparent. They're transparent.
Yes. Okay. Jellyfish. That's what they look like. Okay. But you can't get close enough to them because there's such a bright light that's around them, surrounds them. So just imagine a jellyfish with all these vibrant colors and everything you could see through them, and their energy flows, and everything that they need resides within them. That's the best description I can tell you from a 3D, but I can't really show you the picture because tonight it is not allowing me to show you pictures of them. But I've drawn a lot of them. You know, I'm the one that actually draws them from scratch. So yeah, jellyfish is the example of what it looks like. I mean, you're not going to look at
That
you're
would
not
be a
gonna
good example because they are kind of transparent.
yes, they
you
are
know, some of them,
transparent.
yeah,
And they're, you know, and so you could see
not just
right
kind
through
of,
them,
they are.
but they're very strong. So that's the best way to see it. We get wrapped in the physical body. We don't need all that stuff anymore. You know, the big relief is you don't have to worry about going to the bathroom no more. That's what I say. Great.
Wow. I like that.
Yeah, there's so many times.
Oh, but I don't
can
want to be
do
one
it.
of those grays that excrete everything through our skin and then we stink. I hope that's not
Well,
the
I'm not feeling
case.
it that way. You know, and then not having, you know, I just want that I was like, I really don't want the process of food anymore. And then when we come to that process, I'm gonna be so happy. No food, and you're just being able to live off energy and frequency. It's good. It's great.
I could deal with that. Somebody's asking about Nibiru and saying that there's 6 other planets that the aliens are hiding, and that is why the chemtrails are still here. You know, is there any truth to that?
I think some of the chemtrails are not to kill us. I believe they've switched some of that stuff over, and I believe it's to allow certain beings in our atmosphere.
To allow certain beings in our atmosphere?
So imagine climates, imagine different being, imagine the fact that for them to be here, the climate has to be different. Or there's probably stuff
No, are these
here,
the bad guys or the good guys? These are
the
the
good
bad guys,
guys.
I would assume.
They're good guys.
Oh, that's a good
To
guy.
allow them in, things have to be cleared up a little bit, not the gross stuff that we have, like you know, what they have under Atlantis, the oxygen levels that they have. I believe some of that is that. I believe they're putting oxygen, high oxygen at the very top because we are not in a balance point of oxygen. And I believe that's where it's coming from. And I believe that there's a lot under Atlantis, and I believe there's a lot of beings under there. And I believe that that's an environment they have to be in. So I'm saying when I asked Spirit about the chemtrails, they're like, at a time that was to poison and make us sick, but now it's time they're using it to clear out things and make things better. So it's not just used for what it was in the past.
So the planes that are putting this out have been taken over by the white hats, and they are doing that. Would that be fair to
Yes.
say or no? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Someone else is asking, what do you think of Nibiru, and why are there 2 suns? Why do we see 2 suns?
Here we go with the fact that our planet again can move, and I believe we have moved. And that's why you're seeing 2 suns, because we have moved. And it's not the Nibiru things, and you know, it's a program thing to say. Do you understand? It's a program thing that people have brought in front of us. And I believe 3-4 months ago we got moved, and I got it verified through another person. And now we're in a different state in our position. And I've been seeing that for a while too. I've seen the moon out for a elongated time, and I just don't, it doesn't feel the same. So when I think of Nibiru, I just don't give that any power, and it doesn't feel right with me. So
Yeah, I don't either. It just doesn't doesn't resonate with me at all. I don't know why. It just
that would be the easy way out. We'd be done, and then we don't have to do all this. So they didn't bring us all the way to this point to be done. We're protected. Sorry, it's not going to happen.
Are there 9 dimensions on the sun? That's another question.
Let me ask them. Layers of frequency. So peeling back the banana, well, maybe on the surface, but if you go in deeper, there'll be more. So there's more than just 9.
Oh, Wide Awake mentioned something that's interesting. She said, most will look alike. This stops judgment of others. Interesting.
Who said what?
Most will look alike, and this will stop judgment of others.
Yeah, exactly. Good. You can see them for the soul, what they are. Their soul. Their soul.
Okay. Oh, that reminds me. Somebody's talked about an orb there. Somebody said there was an orb on the last on a show I did just recently, and I never went back to see it myself. I should have went. Okay. Okay. Here's a question. Do we dream in the higher dimensions?
No. There's no need to. When you can create everything.
Oh,
I
wow,
think
this is
dreams
interesting.
here are a limitation, to, and we're outreaching. And then there, it's all about direction and creating. So no.
Okay, someone said that. Oh, Nan said she survived Atlantis, a young girl with her father, and relocated to Greece and Alexandria. And I was a seer in the library and got information out of the walls with her mind. That's pretty interesting.
Well, actually, that's very true because way before everybody got like really into the duns, they were telling me, and there's only a few people know that I did this, that they were saying, Jen, these children, the souls, hid in the walls. Their souls hid in the walls because they were afraid for their souls not to return to the light. So they knew if they hid and went into the brick walls that they could hide. And at that time, they were saying, you need to help and assist to bring them out and bring
What
your
were they
team.
hiding from?
The demonics, because they use their souls for power. They use their souls. So can you imagine being terrorized in the flesh and then thinking that your soul is going to be used on top of that? So it's a different type of terrorizing. So I know there's images, I know there's writings, I know there's languages that pour like layers of information in the walls. And so do souls.
There's somebody's asking, Soul's asking, how can I tell that what I hear or dream is not the broadband baddies broadcasting? It's a cute way of putting it.
So I don't understand that question.
She basically wants to know, how do you know that it's something that you're hearing or dreaming is not from benevolent beings rather than good guys or good beings, benevolent beings?
Because when you go into a dream and you say, I identify, they lose their composure because they don't know if you're identifying them, but they lose their composure enough to where you could feel it either go left or right. And the left is the negative, and they use balance, and they'll usually back off. The right, it's a light lifting energy that comes in. So identify loses their composure. So in your mind, in your dreams, I identify. And then the balance will show. Always works. Use it.
Well, thank you for that tip.
Yeah, it works great.
Okay, I'm just seeing if we got any more questions here. We're coming up on 1 hour and a half, so we might have to wrap this up pretty soon.
Wasn't there one about
this is great. We're getting a lot of good questions and so on. And
yeah, I like the hard questions. I do. I identify.
So we're going to have them think of some real hard ones for you. I'm going to have to sit down and think of some too. Then we'll have you back on and you'll go, oh, geez, I didn't mean that hard. But spirit can answer anything, really.
Yes, they can. So we'll leave it up to them.
All right, let's see. Any advice for best shields up?
Your shield as in negative energy?
Protection.
Identify. I can't preach that enough, because anything that's negative, alien beings, demonic, they'll lose their composure because you're not revealing what you're seeing, and they don't know what you're seeing, and by doing that, the energy changes. And then being strong and not showing weakness. And this is a time to show strength. This is not a time to show that you are weak. It's not the time to show that you are confused in your own identity. It is the time to be strong in it for what you are.
And I think many Americans, and probably many people around the world for that matter, are much stronger than they ever realize. And they're really going to need to draw on that strength.
Society has changed the strength that we used to have. It was very strong. And they have suppressed it and wanted you to suppress it. And now you have to listen to that inner voice that knows that you have that strength inside you to bring that back out.
Really need to connect with Source, God.
Source? No God.
Source. I know. I don't like to use that word, but a lot of people still do.
There's so many gods. I'm a god. This is a god. This is a god. You know, you're just like, yeah.
Which God you talking to? Yeah. Which God you talking to?
Prime source.
Right.
Yeah, and no astral traveling. Don't do the astral traveling. That only creates negativity. It creates into that illusion. It creates, and that's late now. I asked, because the Matrix gone, and they were talking about, astral traveling, and that's just, what that's doing is it's taking a society and stirring up an illusion that they're creating over and over. Because that's what worked in 3D. That's not what's working now. So it's just, if you want to make it demonic, it'll be demonic. If you want to make it light and good, it'll be good. But you're creating it now. So I tell people, do not astral travel. Don't bother with it. It's a 3D that's gone.
Oh, wow. Good. I'm glad to hear that, because I know now that I didn't miss anything.
Yeah. I think astral travel takes a lot of work. Like when I see people, they're like this. I'm like, why does it physically have to? I'm just like, you're using your physical body, and because usually channeling, it's instant. It doesn't wear me out. I'm just like boom, boom, boom. It comes in simple. Stay in your right brain. Stay in the right brain. The left side will feed off of that. If you're getting information on the left, shut it down. But do not do that astral travel. Because all you're going to do is repeat over and over. You notice when you do that, you don't get to a higher level. You don't get into anything that's enlightening. It's like purgatory. Around and around and around and around. It's just negative, negative, negative. So stay away from it. Go up higher. You guys have the capability and the source to go in yourself and connect with prime source. You could do it on your own. You do not need anybody.
All right. Somebody's asking if somebody can cast a spell and make someone sick.
Nope. That's another 3D propaganda again. See, the spiritual community is not telling you that these are all gone now. We're not in that process no more. We're not part of that matrix. We're not part of that astral travel stuff no more. You're involved into creating your own. And if you allow something to do that to you and seep into your soul, you're allowing that. And that's why I'm saying you give it power and you have control over that and saying no. I'll explain something to you. The spirit, well, I saw it. I think everybody gets these texts, Instagram, Facebook, and they're not real psychics or witches or whatever. They're just trying to get money out of you. But they'll say, oh, there's a curse on you. It is just the persona of this just blows my mind. People fall for it every time. And how that impacts you is the minute they bring it into you, you suck into that by the fear. And again, if you're just pushing that away and acting like it doesn't exist, you're empowering it. Don't buy into the curse BS. They have no power over you.
Yeah, I had somebody tell me that's why I didn't remember my dreams. I was cursed.
Yeah. It's such a persona that they make money off selling that and pushing it. Not true.
Alrighty then. I think that the audience has asked great questions, and we're running out of time. And so I would like to wrap this up, and we'll be on again because I'm going to start doing a regular with Jenny when she's available. So,
another thing is if people have questions about this, they can email me if they're interested in the classes that I give, if they're interested in going into the groups. I'm like this. If I can't help you, I will find someone that can. And it's not going to cost you anything to find somebody that can help you. Okay. So it's all about sharing and giving people a door to open. And if I could just give you instructions to get there, I'll do that because we're at a time that we need to help each other get where we're supposed to be at this time. So my website has all the information on there.
Yes. And why don't you, her site is in the description of this video when it processes. Now, sometimes it takes a little time for YouTube or Rumble, or Odyssey is actually the fastest. But once the replay is available, you can go into the description, and Jenny's site is in websites right there. So, and thank you, Connector. You can get all the information that she has to offer there. And are there any last words that you might want to say before we say goodbye or farewell, or it's the end of the show?
I don't think there's a goodbye or a farewell. I think there is. It's all up to ourselves now. We are going to save ourselves. You yourself can save yourself. And it's all with you and Prime Creator now. And he's not asking for money. So start to connect with that. Start to use the singing bowls, whatever you can do to get to that vibration. Because you're here today and you'll make it farther. So just start to work with that.
Yes, and I'd like to add, Jenny, too, is something that works wonderful. I mean, if you go out in nature and you just be, and meditate, and the frequency there has a strong impact on your well-being.
Oh, yes, it does. Very strong one.
And find your joy again, and do what makes you happy, because that's important too. It raises your vibration.
Right. And
alrighty then.
One more thing I want to say is Pleiadians are good. They're out there to protect us. They're out there to be with us. They're out there to lead us to the light. So do not allow anybody to put the Pleiadians down. Stick up for them, because they are there for us.
Alrighty then. Thank you so much, Jenny. Thank you for your time and your wonderful insights. And we will do this again. I don't know when, but we will. And thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Namaste.
We'll stand. We'll stand. We will stand. standing tall.